Hello and welcome to Dove Sport, a 1-hour program on Dove Television. On this show, we give you first-hand information and also get you up to speed with happenings around the world of sport as it concerns our dear country, Nigeria, and Africa at large. My name is Toby Adeshino. On this episode of Dove Sport, we're going to look at the Super Eagles preparations for the summer event in Egypt. That's the African Cup of Nations. Also, we take a look at the Super Falcons preparations for the summer event in France. That is the Female World Cup 2019. Yes. And also, I would like to keep you viewers in the loop as to why Dove Sport was created. And to discuss the purpose, the mission, and impact of Dove Sport in the society is none other than the General Manager of Dove Television in the person of Pastor Dele Oke. Welcome to Dove Sport.
Oh, thank you, Toby. And viewers, you are welcome to the Maiden edition of Dove Sports.
I also have with me the Director of Sport, RCCG Worldwide, Paul Bankole. Welcome to Dove Sport.
Thank you very much, Toby.
It's nice having you on the show.
Thank you. It's going to be fun. And viewers at home, we want to welcome you to this awesome program.
Also joining us today, very important, it's worthy of note that we have Pastor Seyi Oluwadare, one of the philanthropists, let's put it that way, in the world of sport. He has supported grassroots competitions in the church. Pastor Seyi, welcome to Dove Sport.
Thank you for having me. Viewers at home, I really count this one as a privilege to be here, even with my people, my GM and then my director. Thank you very much.
Very quickly, I'd like to put you viewers through as to why Dove Sport was created. And then the first question we have to go to the GM himself. You're the big man in the room, so to say, in double quotes, for obvious reasons. A merit position, being the general manager of Dove Television. What would you say, being the head of Dove Television, what would you consider as the purpose, the mission of Dove Television in the society? What impact is he expected to make in the society of today?
Well, thank you. Let me recognize that Jesus is the only big man we are going to be recognizing in the course of this, of this series. And we want to thank God for making it possible for us to kick off with the maiden edition of Dove Sports. To your question, the purpose for creating Dove Sports. Number one, you will agree with me that in our days, sport has become a veritable tool for evangelism. And we are positioning Dove Television to take advantage of that and make sure that our viewership are encouraged to get involved in sports. I know that sometimes on Sundays, as you are driving to church, you see a lot of these youths on all manner of pitches getting involved in footballing, basketballing, one sport or the other. We intend to take the church to them. Many of them will not come to church. We intend to take the church to them, take our cameras to some of those pitches, film them while they are training, preach to them, come back, transmit it on our channel as a way of letting the world know that God is not against sports and that indeed Christians ought to leverage. We ought to leverage on sport to get some of these souls into the kingdom of God. That's number one. Number two is that with sports, Dove intends to widen the scope of its viewership. We thank God that already Dove Television is a global channel. But we want to leverage on that and expand the scope of the strata of the population that buy in onto the viewership of Dove. Then, of course, don't forget that the visionary of World Dove Media, operators of Dove Television, Daddy Gio, the overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, is not only a sports lover, he is also a sports person. He's a sportsman. We know he has been involved in athletics. We know he's a boxer, and he doesn't hide it that he's a boxer. So we have all of this coming together and more that is making us to say, yes, the time has come, and we thank God that it has made it possible for us to kick off with this Maiden edition. And I can assure viewers that we are going to be bringing you top of the chart events, sporting events from Nigeria and from across the world.
Okay. Secondly, much has been said about the media power in the society of today. It is believed that the world media controls a large percentage of the society. What impact will Dove Sport have in Nigerian sport industry?
Well, like I said, we are, thank God the Director of Sports for RCCG is here, Pastor Bankole. We are going to make sure that we encourage the development, contribute to the development of grassroots sports. Catch them young. And as they grow to be sportsmen, as they grow to become sports managers, you are able to introduce kingdom values into the management of sport in Nigeria. But our channel is not just a local channel. Our channel is also global. And I know for sure that most of the big football leagues, football clubs in the world are being bought over by the other faith. I don't see any reason why Christian people, kingdom people, should not also get involved in that. So we are positioning Dove Television to get into all of those places, make sure that kingdom values take over the sporting arena, and then of course let the people know that of a truth, Dove Television is indeed positioned to further and to develop the industry of sport in Nigeria.
Pastor Bankole, he spoke about growth and catching them young, and you all know that growth starts from the grassroots in the sport industry. How can Dove Sport partner with Redeem globally, I mean internationally, in showcasing and promoting what you have in terms of activities?
Well, thank you very much, Toby. Number one, let's give glory to God Almighty for this Maiden edition. And I want to believe that by the special grace of God, we will have the grace to execute what the GM has just said now. He said Dove TV will be positioned, okay, to assist in and will contribute to catching them young. And then, of course, we're talking of developing sports at the grassroots. Now, talk about the grassroots to begin with. The Redeemed Christian Church of God is spread over the entire nation, Nigeria. There's no local government, there's no ward in this country where you don't have a parish of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, right? So that's number one. Number two, what it means is that, and then he said, like Sunday mornings, I heard him, talk about Sunday morning. We call that the SMS, okay? Sunday or Saturday morning sports. It's in place already, where every Sunday morning or Saturday, we go out, okay, to meet these boys and girls on the street. I don't have a particular parish I belong to. My parish is out there on the streets or in the villages and so on. For instance, GM, sir, you may need to note this. Here, Kajola, not far from here, every Saturday evening and every Sunday morning, the boys are there, okay? And we go to them, we give them balls and so on. We reach out to them, okay? And a lot is happening along that line. For instance, viewers at home, and James, sir, you may take note of this. Find out, you do a research into how Kwara United started. Kwara United started when Pastor, what's his name now? Daddy retired member of the board, Daddy Osho, was provincial state pastor in Ilorin, okay? And we had an outreach and discovered that on that Sunday morning, we had a lot of them who gave their lives to Christ. So we had to discuss with him, and there was this field there somewhere in a school. We had to meet with the head of the school and asked to be given permission to be using that place every Saturday and Sunday. Fine, it started, and suddenly we saw the growth in terms of numerical strength. Okay, that was what we didn't want to give it any spiritual name, like a God will do it football team or miraculous football team. So we said, let's just give it Kwara United Ilorin. That was the birth of Kwara United Football Club.
Not everyone knows that.
No, not everyone. So as at that time, over 90% of members of Kwara United were members of RCCG. And I take you back, that was when Kojo Williams was chairman of NFA. And this current Senate President, Bola Saraki, we were working together on these things. That's what also gave birth to Kwara, Academy. Okay? Sir, it is very, very easy for us to do, provided, one, funds will be available for you and your personnel to be able to go out. You need to move cameramen and so on. We need to spread. A couple of years ago, I took Pastor Adeyemi. He's still here, okay, the AGO in Abuja. I said to him, sir, I want us to visit the National Stadium after the workers' meeting on a Sunday morning. So he said, okay, fine. So we went. As we drove in and he saw the crowd and the number of cars, I remember Pastor Adeyemi just kept on saying, oh my God, what are these people doing here? Or is there an event? Is it an... I said, no, sir, they've come to recreate. This is their church. So we must come in here. And he said, Pastor, you have to start doing something about that. I said, no, sir, you've not seen anything yet. Let's go to Ajegule, where you will see about 8 football fields jam-packed with people. And then along the line, as you drive down to Ajegule from stadium, on the bridge, you see them also, boxers and so on. So the harvest is ripe for us. The thing is for us, now for the church and Dove Television, sir, to agree that, okay, fine, we are going to concentrate on this. There'll be funds available for it. And I can assure you, within the next couple of months, before the end of this year, we will be counting tens of thousands, if not millions of people that this program can bring into the church. I can assure you, it's there. Now, he mentioned something about clubs in Europe and so on. You know, Toby, I can give you about 14 football clubs that were founded by Christians, by the Church of England. Southern team, Everton, Liverpool, and so on. Even Manchester City, that has been bought over by sheikhs now, was founded by the daughter of a cleric. But they have bought, and they're still buying. A couple of years ago, I was there in London, and I said, listen, guys, what is going on? Can't RCCG put money together?
We'll come to that, Pastor.
You're coming to that, okay.
Pastor Shea, let me come to you very quickly. He made mention of funds. I don't know, you supported grassroots football competitions. I went round voluntarily, and I asked from 3 different fields, local pitches here on the church, and then your name popped up as one of the donors to their sport competitions. Was it a case of passion, or you just felt like giving back to the society? Why should you come up and say, okay, I want to sponsor a grassroots competition, a 1-week football event, or a 2-day football event? Was it a case of passion or a case of giving back?
Oh, thank you, Toby. Whereas I turn, I just want to, first of all, appreciate God, because anything that man do here on earth, if God is not permitted, that person cannot do it. That is why I want to give glory back to God for doing anything that I've done. It is true. It is out of passion. You know, the kind of position we occupy as a pastor in the church, you see majority of them coming to us. Pastor, please, we have an opportunity or an invitation to somewhere outside country or outside state. Please, sir, we have gotten money for vest or for boot, or it just remain transportation down to where we are going. Well, most of them, at least most of them, will just come to us, Pastor, please come and do this for us, come and do that for us. When one day and I sat down, I said, these things that you are looking are far off, and it's looking out for outside this place, we can get it within ourselves. And I just called one or two out of them that now come. How can we just bring these boys together and appreciate them? And that thing that they are looking for outside, that we can get it here within ourselves. He now said, just came up with a very, very small amount that I don't even think that a man can have that and appreciate. But they just say, you just come up with it. And I know that at that time, I have it on me. And I said, okay, go and arrange for those who are ballers, let them organize for competition and let that competition. And I know at that time I have it on me, and I just voluntarily give it to them. And I saw joy in them. That means what I mean is that I thought it's a thing that I can be looking for 5 million, 10 million of money before one can be satisfied with. Well, before we get it, we know it. 10,000, 15,000. They were happy. I said, wow. So I could not. Then I can afford to ask them to do it almost 3 months. So if it is just with that little more amount, you are satisfied with it, and I can see this kind of happiness in you. You can continue doing whatever you are doing. Honestly, well, I voluntarily, out of my little one that I'm collecting, I said, okay, let me connect. Start sponsoring you people at grassroots, at least to encourage them. It's out of passion.
Pastor Sheyi, now you went in and you supported voluntarily.
Yes.
Now Dove Sport has been created.
Yes.
How can we come in and then support this same grassroots? How can we come in? You've been there before. How can we come in?
GM has already said it, and my director has also said it, that now that Dove are coming on board in the area of sport, that they want to support us. Now, it is my duty to just go back home now after this show, that yes, now, thank God, there's good news now. I brought the good news for you. What is that? Dove have already, made themselves available to support us. Those girls, they are available 24/7. If they can hear that Dove is bringing television, bring their camera, bring this and support us in one way or the other, honestly, you see them coming up, they will be very happy. Honestly, the joy that will be coming out of them, honestly, you will not be able to cultivate it. That I said, I quantify with anything, but you just will see the joy of the Lord in them.
But looking at the manpower, sorry to cut you there. Yes. Looking at the manpower, the athletes you've seen in the grassroots, is RCCG ripe enough to own a professional football outfit?
More than.
You think with the athletes, with the footballers you've seen, the amateur footballers, we're ripe enough. The church is ripe enough to have a professional outfit.
Yeah. The RCCG is ripe enough. Thank God my director is here. Thank God the GM of Dove is here. What else do we need? What else do we need? You just let my director tell me now that, okay, Sheyi, go. My GM now, Sheyi, go. Just go and arrange for us. You will see in the next 1 week, I will get back to my director and Dove and say, yes, we are ready, sir. You will see that.
I think sport goes hand in hand with money, because you need money to fuel logistics, to host competition. You need to pay these athletes. Pastor Bankole, this is to you, sir. Can this particular project, can it be self-funding if the church decides to invest in it as, in having a professional outfit like a football club or a professional basketball team?
Sorry, which project? This Dove Sports?
No, not Dove Sports.
Which one?
Like Redeem now, owning a professional football outfit. Can it be self-funding?
Oh my gosh. We are not just starting, we've had it.
Professionally?
We've had it. Let me just come down to the level. Before MFM, we have been in the league.
And speaking of MFM, they currently top the table.
We've defeated MFM twice here in Lagos. One at Nikon Stadium, another one at Taslim Balogun Stadium when we won the FA Cup. Go and check. COD United. Once upon a time in this country, we had 3 football teams in the National League.
COD United, City of David.
Yes, City of David United.
The parish of the Redeemed.
That's right. And then we had TIP, the Everlasting Arm Parish in Abuja, and the province, Edo Province 2. For Edo Province 2, they were not only in the league, they won the national chairman's, national chairman competition.
In Edo State?
No, it was played in Lokoja, okay, there. And we were there, they won it. We've had it. The truth of the matter is this. Every church has its own priority, okay? That's number one. Number two, which is in line with what he was just trying to express now. We are more than ripe. We have them. The boys are there. But you see, the truth of the matter again is that we cannot engage in what is going on in the league today. I will not compromise that. The Redeemed Christian Church of God would not go into the dirty. Listen to me, for God's sake. I just told you about Remo Stars. Kunle Shuname is the one in charge of Remo Stars. You know, Remo Stars got relegated simply because Kunle is a member of the church, RCCG. No. Kunle would not bribe any referee. I won't give 50,000 naira to a referee because I would need a penalty to win the match. We have experienced it here on this camp. There was to be a match on a Sunday. They arrived on the Saturday, the officials. I took them for lunch. We got there, and they started asking me for some very ridiculous things. They needed blanket to sleep with that night. And you know what the blanket is?
I understand.
You understand that?
An escort.
Okay, an escort. Very good. And I was asked how I would want the match tomorrow. Is it a win or a draw? And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, the better side will win. He said, no, if it's a win, 70K. If it's a draw, 50K. And that 70K is per official. So you're talking of 120 for officials. I can't be involved in that. I won't compromise that. And that is why that's why COD pulled out. Our teams pulled out. Now, come to grassroots from what the GM said. We are working with the Teens and Children Department right now as we speak, okay? I think from next week or thereabout, they're starting some competitions, right?
Okay.
That's the Teens and Children, all right? Now we want to raise a team. We started this in September, and we got this very formidable team. The boys are still on ground, under 18. The Redeemed Christian Church of God is the only church in Nigeria today that is in partnership with the Nigerian Olympic Committee. This church is the only church today that has been accredited and that has a high performance center that is being managed by the Association of Sports Performance Centers, managers of high performance centers globally. There's no any other church in West or North Africa that has it. We are registered here. So facilities, yes,
it's
fine.
Available.
Yeah, no, I mean, come on, we've been producing them. Today we have a Commonwealth gold medalist, Aminat Adeni MON in wrestling. We have a bronze medalist in boxing, Commonwealth Games. Dorcas is number 2 in the classics, badminton. Yemisi is in Canada now. She won the Nigerian sportswoman of last year. We have Moyo Sore, okay, who is a national champion in 100 meters. The judokas, the twins, they are there. We've produced them. They are there.
Speaking of the High Performance Center, is it open to every Nigerian or?
I mentioned bureaucracy. It is there. We've handed it over to Rectem now. Okay, I've handed everything, the documents, everything over to Rectem. So it's now for Rectem to take over the facility and turn it into looking at global best practice. Okay, because I know that General Overseer does not compromise quality. So these things are there. Okay, it is just for us to remove those blocks, and then make sure that we're able to express ourselves. Now, so that all those young ones, the ones he is assisting, for instance, okay, can come up. We have the best of the best of the best of coaches in Redeemed. Basketball, Olumide Ayodeji, boxing, Joe Mensah, we have them. We have heard the best of the best boxing competition here on this camp. Table tennis, we had it. They went home with millions. 4 of them went home as millionaires. So it's not as if, things are not happening. We have them.
Okay, lastly, Pastor, what are the goals you've set? Your office, what are the goals on ground now before the year runs out?
Okay, very good. I was sharing with the general manager a couple of days ago. Can you imagine, Toby? Take the 25, or how many regions do we have now? And we have an academy attached to them. I understand that there are about 40,000 parishes. I said, no, don't go with 40,000 parishes. Just give me 1,000 parishes. Oh, that's even too much. Just give me those regions, okay? We can run a league on our own. We can run a league, sponsored. We have the television now to cover. And once it is covered, corporate organizations wants to sponsor, okay? Now you have the sports academy attached to it. We represent the Redeemer Brazil Sports Academy in the country, okay? We have trained coaches in futsal, five-a-side and so on. We specialize in it in this country today.
Can all these projects be achieved before December?
Come on, why not? What are you talking about? It's just a matter of people keying into it. Through this platform now, there's a lot that can be achieved through this platform. A lot can be achieved.
Okay, thank you. You just heard the voice of Pastor Bankole, the Director of Sports for Redeem globally, and also the General Manager of Dove Television. And it's also very important that we had a philanthropist in our midst, a sport philanthropist who was donated to grassroots sport development in the church, in the person of Pastor Sheyi. Thank you for joining me in the Maiden edition. Hopefully we'll get to bring you some other time to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, let's go for this quick break. And when we return, we'll go into the next segment of the show where we'll talk about the European scene. Also, we'll take a look at the Nigerian scene, the preparation of the Super Eagles down to Egypt 2019. Yes, it is blazing hot because we have countries like Senegal, Morocco, Tunisia, all in that tournament. Also, the Nigerian Super Falcons have been placed in a group of death in the Female World Cup right there in France. When we come back from this quick break, we'll dwell on all those stories. Don't go nowhere. Yes, welcome back. It's still Dove Sports on Dove Television. And then joining me in the studios right now are top 3, yes, you hear that from me, top 3 Nigerian journalists. Yes, they're very vast in Nigerian sports, be it hockey. I've got guys who are special in hockey, guys in Formula 1, guys in Nigerian basketball, and also anything concerning the Super Eagles and the Super Falcons. I've got with me Tokpe Adefala. Tokpe Adefala, welcome to Dove Sport.
Yeah, it's nice being here. The Maiden edition, it's a pleasure.
Okay, and then we have a female as well, in the name of Blessing Fowowe. Blessing, welcome to Dove Sport.
Yes, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Okay, last on the list is none other than Tunde Kilani. Tunde, welcome to Dove Sport.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me in this Maiden edition. It's always a pleasure talking sport with you, Toby.
When I look at you, I remember a footballer, Vincent Company. I don't know why, for obvious reasons. Are you related?
No, obviously we are not related.
Okay. Okay, that's on a lighter note. Yeah. And then today we'll be discussing about the Super Eagles preparations for the summer event in Egypt. That is the African Cup of Nations. Several countries have qualified. It's a 24-team tournament, and Nigeria has been seeded in Pot 2. The draws will take place on April the 12th. That is this month. We're anticipating that. But before we dwell on that, let's talk about how the Super Eagles have fared on their way to the tournament. How did the qualifiers go? Was it rosy? Was it as easy as the time passed? And then we'll also take a look at the friendly against Egypt. What are the positives you can draw out of it? And then talking about that, talking about positives, Tokwe, we saw the game, the friendly game against Egypt, Nigeria versus Egypt. We didn't see an Odion Ighalo start that game. We're worried. We've never seen Onuachu play for the Super Eagles, but he came on and then he blew us away.
Actually, that was Onuachu's second game, although that was his first cap. I mean, his first start. Yes, we were used to seeing Odion Ighalo as the main person, but I think with what we saw from Paul Onuachu, for as many as those who have been clamoring for him to be inserted, for him to play for the Super Eagles, what we saw was fine. It's called the second fastest goal in international football history. I think the first in Africa, 8 seconds, 10 seconds. The good thing about what he displayed on that, it was not just about the goal. Yes, it was a good goal. He controlled the ball, beat his marker, and then straight into the net. It was, for me, it was all about his all-round game, his control of the ball. I had to tweet that this guy plays, he has the skill set of a midfielder as a striker. He's tall, he could control the ball, he could hold on to the ball and play with other midfielder attacking players, which for me, we don't get to see from Odion Ighalo. So I think with what he did, with what he showed in that game, I think we have an option, just like General said.
A great option. Speaking about option, Blessing, looking at the qualifiers, Gennett Raw is a kind of pragmatic manager, very rigid in his selection. He doesn't tweak his team. Do you think he's not having a lot of options in terms of players, available players for Nigeria? Or is it a case of Gennett Raw just being a little bit cautious in terms of changing his starting 11?
Well, for me, I think it's not a question of not having options. It's not a question of not having talent. We actually do have talents. We have options that we can come in and, take, all of those places in the national team. But I think it's a question of Gennett Raw being somebody who is a bit set on his ways. And then he tells himself, okay, I think in the back of my mind, I have maybe like 70% or maybe like 80% of those I feel should be the mainstay of this team. And if I'm going to tweak, I'm just going to be very careful about it. You don't want to make too much changes that will alter the balance of the team. For me, I think that's what Gennett Raw seems to be looking at a little bit when he decides to, sometimes bring in the mainstay. For instance, the game against Seychelles, I felt it's been a dead rubber game, a game where we have already qualified. We could have considered using some of the new legs that we invited. We could have considered using some part of the under-23 players, because you're looking at players who will eventually graduate into the national team when those big legs are beginning to tire out. So I thought at that point we should be beginning to, try them and see what they can do in the national team setup. Don't forget that they're actually good with the under-23. They have their own day. But how about them, having to, fill into the national team? I thought he would have, tried that a bit against Egypt as well. It was a bit daring for him to have dropped Odion Ighalo. I wasn't expecting to see Odion Ighalo start that game. This is somebody who is the highest goal scorer in the qualifying series. I'd, of course, love to see a Paul Onuachu, which he gave to us at that point. I'd have even loved not to see the midfield setup, not to see Ndidi starting. I would have loved to see him, bringing maybe the John Ogu, for instance, and, just about tweaking and let's see the options that we have, the several options that we have for the different positions. But like I said, it looks like somebody who is set in his ways, who in his mind has 70 to 80% of his team settled. And at this point, he feels, okay, I don't need to make too much changes. Let me just work with the ones I have. And if I'm going to add, maybe I'm adding 1, maybe I'm adding 2, not making an overhauling. But whatever happens, if that is the way that works for him and eventually works for Nigeria, then yeah, fine, we'll take it.
If it works for Nigeria, fine.
In
well,
the long
let
run.
me tell you something, viewers back at home. It did work for Nigeria because we qualified for the World Cup in Russia convincingly with a game to spare. And just for the Nations Cup as well, we qualified with a game to spare. Speaking about a game to spare today, we saw what Gennett Raw did. Would you rank him? Where would you rank Gennett Raw right now in terms of Nigeria's manager? For over a decade now, where would Gennett Raw rank? We've had Amadou, we've had Olise, we've got a couple of close to 7 in the last 10 years. Where would Gennett Raw, where would you rank him?
For me, basically, I have to be frank with you, Toby. Gennett Raw is an average coach, as far as I'm concerned, because he has not done anything spectacular than what the previous coaches have been doing in our national team. Because the last 2-3 years, he has qualified for us for Nations Cup with a game to spare. He has qualified. We qualified for the World Cup with a game to spare. But we've had indigenous coaches. We've had foreign coaches that have qualified Nigeria for World Cup. We've had coaches that have won the Nations Cup for us in the past, both foreign and local coach here. So he has not done anything spectacular, speaking from my own point of view.
What would be spectacular for you as a target going into the Nations Cup in
Going
Egypt?
to the Nations Cup, he has said it in 1 or 2 interviews that Nigeria, we are not favourite going into the Nations Cup. He has mentioned Senegal, he mentioned Cote d'Ivoire, he mentioned host Egypt. So for me, winning the Nations Cup, it will add to his own CV that he came to Nigeria, he won the AFCON. But to an average Nigerian, we've won it before. But if he can win it in a
Grand
very
style.
grand style, convincing manner, flush all your opponents from the match 1 to the final, you know, convincingly.
I love the word flush. I love the word flush.
Yes.
But can you flush the likes of Senegal?
Yeah, yes, if it's possible. It's possible. In
With the
terms of
players we have on ground.
With the quality of players we have on ground today. Not even to talk of those that have not gotten their chance in the Super League.
Let's talk about the players we have on ground today. Let's start from the goalkeeping position. We have a problem in that position.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Forget about his club now with all the headaches he's facing in Cyprus.
Presently, like she said, and like Ross said in one of his interviews, that he has 65% of his squad set. So we have 3 goalkeepers based on that. Dele Oke, who keeps for Kaisership in South Africa. We have Francis Uzo that you mentioned. And then we have Ikechukwu Ezenwa. I would love not to talk about these guys, but for me, I think out of the 3, if you are going to pick any, the person that look better out of the lot would be Ikechukwu Ezenwa. Francis Uzo has shown over time that we cannot really trust him. As much as I don't think we have option of the 3 goalkeepers, but since our coach said we should pick from the 3 guys. So if we are going to pick from the 3 guys, for me, I think it should be Ikechukwu Ezenwa. But the sad thing about Ikechukwu Ezenwa, I think he's with Katsina United, and he's yet to keep. He's not the first choice. So it's telling us that there are other goalkeepers out there, and we see General go to watch their games. Why have you not tried any of these guys? And a lot of guys have been clamoring for Sam Okoye to come in. Maduka Okoye, the guy in Dulsodorf.
Speaking of Maduka Okoye, blessing. Maduka was invited for the 23 team, but his club decided not to release him. What does that speak?
Well, you should first of all ask yourself, the under-23 Nations Cup, is it on the calendar for, on the FIFA calendar? You should consider that. And then for a club side to release their player at a very critical stage of their season, it's going to take a lot of things for them to do, and that perhaps explains. I would have loved if maybe during the off-season he's brought into camp, and then you watch him closely, and then you see what you can actually offer to the team. Then maybe you ease him gradually into the team. I also want you to know that we wouldn't have been talking about goalkeeping crisis if not for the sickness to Carl Ikeme in the first place,
Definitely.
and if not for the unceremonial way that Vincent Nyama left the national team. But what we have on ground from Francis Uzo. Francis Uzo wasn't terrible at the World Cup. I want us to know. Fine, it could have been, his form may have dipped at this point in time, and that could have been as a result of the troubles that he has had with his club side, not getting enough time in Spain, and then moving to Cyprus, having to contend with the medical issues, the fake medical certificate that it was issued at some point, and that got him suspended for a couple of games. It could be match rusty. I'm not saying that we should literally throw him out and say, okay, we're done with him, he's not keeping game. I just want you to know that sometimes we have good day in the office, sometimes a bad day in the office. So I'm not saying we should take him away totally. He's still quite young, you want to say. It's got many years ahead of him. I think what we should get him now is get enough playing time, and then needs to get himself back in that confident shape going into the Nations Cup. Because like it or not, it's going to be your first choice. Gernot Roy is not somebody who is open to experimenting in that goalkeeping department. So this is who we have at this point in time. So we're going to stick with him. So I just hope that the goalkeeper trainers would try to work with him closely and try to get that confidence back into him. Try to get him back into that shape that he was at the World Cup. It wasn't bad at the World Cup.
The midfield battle is one I don't want to dwell on. I believe Etebo is going to Nations Cup. I believe Indeed is going. I don't know about John Mikel Obi right now. What do you think about John Mikel Obi blessing?
I think John Mikel Obi would go to the World Cup. Nations Cup, I beg your pardon. It could be his final Nations Cup, but yes, I think he will, because as the captain of the national team, he will want to at least lift the trophy again with the national team. Maybe lift the Nations Cup.
And definitely Ogu should make the list as well.
Ogu will, but he won't be starting there. Ogu will, because I think he's one of those backup that General usually, just have him on the bench. You have a squad player, sort of. I think Ogu will, but I also believe that John Mikel Obi will.
What do you think about the inclusion of Kelechi Nwakali into the national team?
Like in fresh blood.
We talk about each time you see the Super Eagles play, one thing that is missing when Mikel doesn't play, and sometimes when Mikel is being
creativity
is being asked, is the creativity. And John Ogu, for me, he doesn't do that. You know so
you don't
well.
Expect a John
wait.
Ogu
I know he's a defensive midfielder, and that brings the question in a defensive midfield role. A lot of times, journalists and people who are close to a table will tell you he's an 8. He plays behind the striker. Yes. Playing him in the role sometimes of a creative midfielder is not his thing. Yes, we have been using Alex Iwobi in that role, and in the last 2 games that Alex had played in that role, he was off against Sergio. He did well against Egypt. Yes. So we saw what Kelechi Nwakali did in the game against Libya.
Okay,
he was
let's hope General brings in Kelechi Nwakali into the team.
Sorry, Toby. Before that, I think Kelechi Nwakali has to sort out his club career. He's currently playing with Porto B team, and he's not a regular there.
The goalkeeper, Francois, is in Cyprus.
Yes, I know.
We can mention.
No, we have options in the midfield.
We can mention.
We don't have options in the goalkeeping position.
We can mention. Okay, what about in the defense? I said you can tell me that when Leon Balogun comes into play, he does well, but he's not regular at his club.
He's not starting for Super Eagles again.
He came back from injury.
William Troost-Ekong
No, it was because he just came back from injury.
He
has been playing well for Leganes. And then Udinese said
regularly, as a matter of
fact. We know nothing can touch the Oyinbo wall. He just came back from injury. That was why he didn't play that game.
Okay, guys, very quickly, we need to move on. That sounds interesting, but I don't want to dwell on it for one reason, because I believe once you're getting game time in your club, you should be given game time as well in your country, deservedly so. But away from that, let's touch on the striking position, and then let's look at the options available to Nigeria. Right now, we have Odion Igalo, we have Simi Owankwo, we have Paul Onuachu, who just came into the light in the last game against Egypt. And then we have Victor Osimhen, who has been banging in goals in Europe. Let's look at this option, guys. Today, let me come to you first on this. Osimhen, we expected Osimhen to come into the Egypt team and then, be the surprise package. But no, he was drafted into the under-23 side to rescue Nigeria. And he did. He scored an hat-trick. Yeah, fantastic game he had. But do you think Osimhen has a chance in going to Egypt?
Yeah, he should have a chance based on current form. Because whatever I will say here, I will speak on current form. Since he made that loan move from Wolfsburg in the German Bundesliga to Sporting Charleroi in the Belgian First Division, he has been banging in the goals week in, week out. And with that, he stands a chance to make the Nations Cup.
So going with 4 strikers now, Awoni does not stand a chance?
Awoni, there is something about you ease some players into the team. There are some players that you just bring them, bam, they'll click. But there are some other players you have to.
I think you should also consider the level of the opponents that they get to play in week out. The strength of the league where they are playing in.
Speaking about strength of the league, Odion Igalo plays with
he plays in Chinese league. So and he's scoring weekend. So
I can play against the Chinese team. Hi, and I will score an hat-trick.
Yeah, it's possible.
Toby will get an hat-trick against Shenzhen. That's the name of the club, right?
Yeah, yes.
Shenzhen Chadai.
The striking option, we have so many options to be frank.
Shanghai Shenhua.
Oh. We have so many options going forward. That's why the likes of Kelechi Iheanacho might find it difficult, extremely difficult, making the AFCON squad.
Game time in
he's not even having game minutes. I think he's having game seconds now.
Seconds.
Yeah.
So
He's
they-
always
Okay,
on
in
the
the
ball.
last game, he came in 90th minute.
Yeah, 90th minute for a striker, you know.
Game seconds.
Game seconds.
I think for me in the striking option, and we have to look at how many strikers Roa will be taking to the Nations
AFCON.
Cup. Maybe 3. If it is 3, for me, if I'm making the list today, you talked about form. If you're talking about form, I think the most informed Nigerian striker presently is none other person than the guy who needs to play for the national team to get his playing time, to get his work permit, and then get to play for Liverpool. That's Taiwo Awoniyi. He has scored. He has scored 8 goals in 7 games, 8 games now.
games.
If you add the game he played over the weekend that he didn't score, he scored more
So,
goals than every other person. So if
In what league does Taiwo Awoniyi play
in
football?
the same league that you mentioned, Victor
Osimhen.
Osimhen,
They play together in the Belgian league. And both of them are scoring.
League. So if it is, and the Belgian league is actually more competitive than the Chinese Super League, where your top shot striker presently is playing. So if you are asking me to pick right now, I'll pick Paul, I'll pick Odion Igalo, and then maybe.
Paul Onachu based on one game for the national.
No. The fact that you need an option. I said something about his style of play. It's not just about it was not about the goal. His physique, the way he controlled the game, the way he brought other guys into the game. The guy played as if he was
Okay,
a
guys,
midfielder.
very quickly, let's leave this topic and let's move into the Nigerian Professional Football League. That's the NPFL. The NPFL games were played on Sunday, and then we had Magic games. We had a game in Agege Stadium that featured MFM of Lagos and Eimba of Aba. Fantastic game it had. MFM right now has never defeated Eimba ever since they gained promotion into the NPFL. And that's a big, big result for Eimba, going away with a point in that game. The first goal was a fantastic one. I saw that game live. Interesting game we had at Agege Stadium. But guys, looking at the NPFL table right now, who sits top and who goes down if the season ends today? And don't get me wrong, anything can happen.
Yeah, anything
We've
can happen.
seen
It's the NPFL.
sometimes ago, the season last year the season ended with match day 25.
Yes.
So anything could happen.
Yeah, it is the NPFL, like they say. If you blink for a moment, you lose. That's all it's all about. But right now in Group A, for the MFM top Group A, they have 23 points from 13 games played so far. They are closely followed by Eimba, who have 20 points. 20 points so far. Rangers, trying their own luck as well with Benga Ogumbote. Is not doing badly with the team, and currently they have 17 points from the number of games they have played so far. Katsina are 4th as well. And looking at the bottom 4 in Group A, just so you understand how tight this is. Two teams are on 15 points at this point in time. Wiki Tourist and Kwara United. Kwara United lost to Sunshine Stars over the weekend. That was on Sunday at the Akure Township Stadium. I saw that game, and a game that produced 3 red cards. Kwara United were very good knocking the ball around, trying, but they were trying to create the chances. But when it gets to the final third, they always seems to fall short. And for Sunshine Stars, they also had a couple of chances as well, but they took one very good chance, and boom, the ball was into the net, and hey, they had the 2 points, all the points there. And then finally, the bottom team in Group B, 2 teams. In Group A, where Remo have 12 points, and then Tornadoes have 10 points as well. While in Group B, Okanemi Warriors top 23, followed by FCIU, that's FC Fanyoba, Aqua United, Kano Pillars, and bottom 4 we have Abia Warriors, Plateau United, Gumbi, and Yobe Stars.
Okay, there's something of interest to me in the Nigerian Professional Football League, and that is the Unicel boot. That's the golden boot of the Nigerian Professional Football League. And whoever wins that golden boot will receive, I think, 200,000 naira per goal.
Per goal, yes.
And that's big.
Yes, that's
Imagine you
huge.
scoring 20 goals.
And I imagine this happened when Ofomudo was getting 23 goals. 23 goals. Now multiplied by
And good thing for him is leading
I'm not good with maths, but I know that's a lot of money.
He's topping the goal scorer chart with 8 goals.
8 goals.
But then 8 is not compared to 20.
Okay. Let's leave the NPFL, and then when we come back from this quick break, we'll dwell on the international scene. Don't forget, Anthony Joshua will be fighting at Madison Garden. Yes, I'm not an European, so you don't expect the best of me when I call UK words. Madison Square Gardens, yes, right there in,
New York.
New York. When we come back from this break, we'll dwell on that, and then we'll also take a look at the NFF Awards. Nigerian Football Federation Awards that was held on Monday, which Ahmed Musa won the best Nigerian footballer for the year. Yes, welcome back. You're still watching Dove Sport on Dove Television. I have with me live from the United States of America, the project manager, yes, I can say that again, and the CEO of Abi Live Network. They will be supplying us with all the contents that we use on this program. They travel all around the world and then go to all sporting venues across the world. He is also a member of the Commonwealth Boxing Board of Controls and also Nigeria Boxing Board of Controls in the person of Mr. Abiodun Ilori. Welcome to Dove Sport, Mr. Abiodun.
Good day, viewers. Good day, listeners. And it's a good thing to be live from my base here in the United States of America.
Okay. Much has been said before we put the call through to you. And then before I go on, let me say congratulations on your daughter's birth. Your wife just put to bed, so you're on paternity leave, if I can put it that way.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and I appreciate your support, your prayers, and it's so unfortunate that I'm far away. I ought to have been in the studio with you guys, but all the same, I'm glad to be live.
Okay, and then we talked about Dove Sport before we put you on air, like I said. What do you think Dove Sport, how can Dove Sport come in to help the growth of sport globally, in your own view?
Well, thank you very much, Toby. Let me first of all say a very big thank you to the management of Dove Television and the mission entirely for coming out to support sports generally. And I think this is one of the little things the youth of today need to get acclimatized to the new norms of evangelism. And this is one of the few opportunities we have to sell what you believe in to the people and using what is in trend to talk to them. And it's the right time, and I think Dove Sport will be at the place where the youths of today will listen to the best of sports and still enjoy spiritual food, all in one bucket. So I think this is just it for us.
Speaking about the world of sport, much has been said about Anthony Joshua's fight at Madison Garden, and with your closeness with Anthony Joshua and his team, what should we expect, we the viewers, what should we expect about this bout, Anthony Joshua versus James Miller?
Well, let me start from Miller. Miller used to be a kickboxer before he became a full boxer, and he's not a cheap nut. I saw him briefly in London last year when Anthony Joshua fought with Goalkeepers at the Wembley Arena, and I can tell you that it's not going to be an easy fight. But the Anthony Joshua I know, he has what we call suppressed anger, and he's very aggressive, and he's got a very good feet. Going forward, nothing will change about him. He trained very hard, and I think he's ready for this fight. He's already in America. No, he will be in America very soon, but I am sure Madison Square Garden that will debut Anthony Joshua in America is in for a feat. And I hope to be there, and we hope to return to England with the belts as well.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing your honest opinion about the fight, Anthony Joshua versus James Miller. Hopefully we'll get to connect with you next week when we come on here. Okay, you just heard from Mr. Abiodun Ilori. Yes, he's the CEO of Abi Live Network. They'll be supplying us all of the visuals and contents from the European scene all across the world, Asia, China. Yes, mention any continent, they travel there and they get all the visuals you need just to make sure you get the best on Dove Sports. Yeah, away from Anthony Joshua and James Miller, let's quickly talk about the NFF Awards. We have Ahmed Musa winning the best goal of the year for Nigeria. He also won the best player of the year. For the young player of the year, female category, we have Anam Imo. And then for the best player of the year, for female category, we have Onome Obi. And then I think, yes, that is as much as we can take. We're short of time. So very quickly, guys, let's talk about one more thing before we leave here. That is the English Premier League title race. We have Liverpool currently topping the table with Man City having a game to spare. You know, a game in hand looks like maximum 3 points for Pep Guardiola. Tokwe.
Yeah. Firstly, we have to talk about how lucky, would I say lucky? It's going to go down the drain between the two. It started as a three horse races, three horse race. It gone on to 2 between Liverpool and City. And from the look of it, it looked like it is set for City to win it. But like Jurgen Klopp said during the post-match conference after the game they won 2-1, that they should have actually gotten a draw. He said luck is on their side. If the luck continues to be on their side and there's no Steven Gerrard sleeping when they needed him the most, I think they might win it. But if you ask me, I think it will be a City.
Okay,
title.
very quickly, the Golden Boot race, that is interesting to me. Harry Kane, Sergio Kun Aguero, Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, they're all in the mix with Aubameyang.
Yes.
How much of a threat is Harry Kane to the other strikers in England?
Well, of course, he's one of those players that I think other strikers shouldn't wave aside and say, okay, what has he got to offer? He showed in the past 2-3 seasons that, of course, he's got something up his sleeves. And at this point, when Aguero has been, he hasn't trained about two training sessions now, so might be injury troubles for Manchester City. There might be opportunity for Harry Kane to, try to hang over to the top, to the Golden Boot and, stay there and all the way. But I think this is something that will also go down to the wire, just like the title race itself. I mean, nothing is given at this point in time.
Nothing is given. Okay. Well, let's talk about managers that have been sacked. Any manager has been sacked of recent? Aside that of QPR. I think only QPR manager was sacked.
Yeah, only QPR manager.
Okay, guys. Yes, Ole Gunnar was appointed on permanent basis.
Yes.
I think that's all for the news in terms of transfers. Yes. Okay. Thank you for watching Dove Sport. Yes, join us again next week. Same time next week. We'll bring to you Dove Sport, the best of sport across the world. You get it here on Dove Television.